Okay. Good evening. Get out of my. I'm Nancy Brock, member of the Hudson Genealogical Study Group. I welcome you. I'm glad you're all here. Tonight's speaker is Mr. Alan E. Jones, and he's affiliated with the FamilySearch Library out in Talmadge and Kirtland.
Kirtland.
And he started doing genealogy at the age of 15 when my mother dragged me along, so I started before the computer age. I think a lot, yeah. There was no ancestry. With big dusty, I love courthouses. With big dusty books and high tech hand crank microfilm readers. Been there, done that.
That was high tech.
I couldn't look because I'd get seasick. I have taken training classes in genealogy societies, family search centers, colleges, and universities, and also many online courses. I do not want to be called a professional genealogist. To me, that means I am doing it to make money, which I am not. I have volunteered as staff in 5 family search centers. I was a director of 1. I taught family history research in a community college in California. In return, I have given presentations at genealogy and historical societies, family search centers, family history fairs, etc. While I have been involved in this, I also achieved a college degree in business and a university degree in computer science. I have worked as a senior software engineer, a manager in a large corporations that provide software to large companies and the US Navy. So my career blended nicely with my hobby. While I have traveled around North America, I lived most of my life on the West Coast. Only recently in 2019 have I relocated to Ohio. Welcome. My wife Sandy and I live in Cleveland Heights. Currently I am on a staff in the Kirtland, Ohio Family Research Center. I went to a family search fair last year, and the gentleman who was about to speak on newspapers didn't show. He took sick. This gentleman stepped right in, and we enjoyed that class. I enjoyed that class. And welcome. And I'm passing around a sign-up sheet for our lock-in potluck. Friday, October 18th, 5:30, upstairs. We have the whole floor, if you've never come to our lock-in, the computer room. We have potluck, and we have more food than we, more food than we need. It's so much fun. We help one another. Alan, take it over.
Great. Well, thank you. By the way, I also do another presentation only on newspapers, and there's funny things in newspapers. In Cincinnati, a guy decided he really wanted to pet a giraffe, so he climbed over the fence, through the pack barriers, said, "Do not cross," and he went up and he petted the giraffe. It startled the giraffe, it swung its head around and bashed him, and he died the next day from his injuries. You know, these things happen, and I don't think it's this one. I have an example where I found a newspaper record about this Charles Anderson who was murdered with a pitchfork. He was 23 years old. Him and his uncle ran this farm, but they didn't own it. The owner, this Leon guy, he thought it was a sharecropper situation. You know, they grow the crops, they give part to the owner of the property. He thought he should have gotten more. They got in a big fight, and the owner stabbed him to death. So, I mean, there's tragedies, there's hilarious things. A military man at Private Elms in London was being tried for being married 3 times in London. This isn't the United States, the Old West. This is in England. And all 3 wives showed up to testify against him. He was having a bad day. Anyway, this is going to be about free websites. I'm gonna allude to a few that are free in certain places or under certain conditions. But that's, I like to say, free is my favorite 400 word.
Me too.
Good. Let's see, whoop, why isn't that doing something? Come on, I said change page. Okay, you're not gonna be behave on me. Try this again. I don't understand.
Should I call the tech person?
Maybe, yeah,
It's not changing, right?
not changing pages. Let's try to do it from here.
Is it a PowerPoint?
It's a PowerPoint, yeah. But this has never had this happen before.
Would you like me to get the tech person?
Please,
Oh,
somebody please get your tech person.
Did you put it on a slideshow?
Well, but yeah, it's on slideshow. And I'm doing slideshow from the beginning, which went to the first page, then I go to the next page.
Oh, you all said that.
No, I added something. Okay, hold on.
He's having problems with the.
Oh, there it goes. I have no idea what, well, it's not up there.
But it's not up there.
Any idea why it's not up there?
It's not communicating with the projector. So the projector is freezing what the last thing it had.
Okay, you sound like
Well, I don't.
got the tech coming?
It's, all right, there's Stevie.
Ooh,
This is sort of in the right.
Okay. I don't know. I never had this happen before.
I'm not getting close to it. It was just a while.
she suggested getting someone, I said, you told me.
Yeah, they're coming.
They're coming.
Thank
You're welcome.
Alan, the tech guy is coming.
Yeah. Now I got it working on the computer, just don't have it on the screen.
You can
Well-
keep talking, they're not speaking.
Well, one of the things about the handout, I did my best so you don't have to write down a single website.
Thank you.
And there's more websites on there that I mentioned. In this presentation, there's only one little thing I'll tell you that isn't in the handout, and I'll tell you when I get there.
Okay.
It was some sort of an afterthought. I belong to a lot of online things. I belong to Ancestry, FamilySearch, Genealogy, MyHeritage, also Facebook groups of various kinds of genealogy groups, and I'll show you some of those.
I promise you, he should join Genealogy Anonymous.
You like that, huh?
That's a good one. 12 steps.
12 steps.
There we go.
There it is.
It is?
There we go.
Oh.
There we
Yay.
go. All right.
Love you.
All right.
Stick around before you plug it
I don't
in.
leave yet. Let's try this. So, let me go on. This is the problem we were having.
Oh, wait, don't go.
It won't go to the next page.
arrow keys.
It won't let him advance.
It won't let him.
No. It won't let me.
Is it in the?
PowerPoint appears to be working, it just somehow isn't telling it the next page.
Does he have to be, does he have to be on our website?
There he's in.
I don't know why it's not working. Press the arrow keys to move.
Okay, well anyway, I'm gonna first talk for a few minutes about FamilySearch.org. Free website for the world to join. Ah, there we go. There's sort of the form to fill out.
Slow.
Yeah.
Click down here to create an account. Free account, free account, free account. Fill in some things and click go. Now, when you get there, there's a couple things. You can create a family tree on here if you want. I have a family tree on here, but I'm going to show you the stuff that you can find here. Here is search. And under search, you're going to have a number of things. One of them is family tree. The concept of family search is that everybody is connected together. And eventually they hope to have everybody's trees all connected. So it's not your tree that nobody else can see or touch. It's the family tree of all of mankind. Different from Ancestry. And both methods have their bad points and good points. I have an Ancestry account, and for the heck of it, I did a search on Ancestry for my dad, and I found 57 records and 57 different trees that had my dad in it. 55 of them had wrong information. So I spent a whole lot of time trying to contact those people and get it corrected. But anyway, this in the other case, on the other side of the coin, this is one big tree. Theoretically, there'd be only one record for every person who ever lived. The problem is, somebody might make a change to one of those records of deceased people that you don't like. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes they're right and you don't like it. Sometimes they're wrong and you don't like it. Because everybody who's using it is not professionals. You know, there's newbies on there who are trying to do their best too. And they make mistakes. So anyway, I'm going to show you what you do if you go into Search Family Tree. So you go in here, and this little form pops up, and you can put in information about what you have on them. You know the idea about searching anywhere. If you put in lots of information, you might not get your person. If you put in too little bit of information, you'll get too many hits, right? So you got to find a happy medium. For Jones, I got to put in a lot of information. For a Schwarzenegger, probably, you know, put in that last name, you know. So it just depends on what you got. In this case, I put in oops, why did I see my Dilbeck? Well, I put in Dilbeck anyway, and I went and I found Maggie Dilbeck. And it gave me a number of people that could possibly be it, and this is the one that I wanted, so I clicked, oh, there's where I put in the search stuff. And it brings her up, and I click on it once, and I want the personal file. So this is her file here, and then FamilySearch searches its many databases on a regular basis, and these are the hints for her. So if this was my person, and those are those hints, I click on one of the hints, and you see here it brings up the information here on the far right for me to decide, is that really my person or not? If not, down here I mark it's not my person. If it is, I then click on yes, let's review it. And here it is, it sets it up. Here's what the record has, here's what I have. Now I click here to move the burial in. So I click on that burial, and now the burial is there on the record.
Oh, wow.
So just, you know, Ancestry has its great points about searching hints too. FamilySearch does as well. Let me talk about sources. It lists the sources here. Now, what about sources? Genealogy without sources is mythology. You know, I haven't seen any sources for, you know, Zeus and Apollo and some of those people. So we should have sources for our stuff too. Anyway, I open up one of the sources, and this source has the information transcribed and a link to the site that it came from. In this case, it came from Find a Grave. And you got a picture of the grave, you've got other information here, and you scroll down, there's likely to be information on more family members. So another free website, Find a Grave. And by the way, I suggest you sign in, create an account. It's free, there's never a charge, but if you say you find a little bit of information you want to add to one of these, you have to be signed up to put in a request to change something. So there's no harm, and it helps you. All right, so FamilySearch also, if you go in and view your family tree, you're going to see little icons here that mean different things. That little blue means there's a hint on Elizabeth. And so you click on that hint, and it says, okay, what was it again? Wales Parish Registry. And so then you click on this, just get more information, and let's just see her. So we're going to open up Elizabeth, and here's her record, and there's that hint that we saw on the pedigree chart. So now, again, we click and we see if that match up to what we've got, and we want to review and add it. So that was a real quickie. I'll get back to more FamilySearch in a minute. But I want to cover a few more things. Anybody use YouTube? Good. You know, I used it to figure out how to plant my garlic. And I used it to figure out how to replace the fan motor in my car, my truck. And there's lots of genealogy lessons on YouTube. You want to learn about ancestry? Put it in. FamilySearch? Put it in. MyHeritage? Put it in. How to find certain things? Put it in. You'd be surprised what it has. So I use YouTube a lot because we need to always be continually learning. There's no one who's learned everything.
They're always coming up with more and more and more.
That's all the time, all the time. So
Alan,
that's on
Do
your
you
list.
have to set up an account with YouTube?
No,
You
Just
Google it?
go to youtube.com and put in the word you want to search for, and it'll show you all the talks. Like here I put in FamilySearch, and here's some different presentations, and you scroll down and there's more. No account, no charge. Okay, cemeteries.
Okay.
How many of you went around, walked around cemeteries? Yeah, me too. Not anymore. I already showed you that, a little bit about findagrave.com. There's actually two other good cemetery groups. I think I put them in there. Billion Graves and Cemetery something.
Census.
Yeah. I tend to use this more. I've been more successful with it. So in here, you just put in, there's a lot of stuff here. If you want that to go away, put less, and it'll just give you a few things. But just put in, Ben Bale, died about 1917 in Bureau, Illinois. I want to tell you something about where. It's going to get confused if you should say Bureau, Illinois. It doesn't know if you want Bureau Village, Bureau Town, Bureau County, and those towns aren't necessarily in that county. So when you do this address, if it suggests a county, pay attention and click on it. Let it put it in. And if not, put it in yourself. Otherwise, it won't work well. So now, we hit on that. And, oh, by the way, for dates, so many people are just dead set sure something happened on a certain date. This one lady was saying, what was it, July 7th, 1752. She knew that's when he was born, and she's only going to look on records for that date. Well, that record didn't have that date. So I always like to put at least 3 years, plus or minus. So, be flexible with dates. You may be absolutely right that that's when they were born. That doesn't mean that what's got recorded. Mistakes are made in all kinds of records, including my mother's gravestone. But just keep in mind, mistakes happen. It's not a matter of somebody's trying to prove you wrong. So anyway, up comes one Benjamin. He's got a Bale with an S here. He went by Benjamin Bale or Benjamin Bales, and that's him. So I open it up, and there's his gravestone, his birth, his death, his marriage, his burial. Here's someone put in a newspaper clipping, and then here are links off to his wife and all of his children that have similar pages with similar information. So Find a Grave is a great tool. And if you created an account, you can add something. Like I added a picture to him. It's not in this exact example, but do contribute. Okay, so
Excuse
now
me.
what else? Newspapers. Yes.
Now, when you find that, do you transfer that somewhere digitally, or what do you do when you?
I will sometimes
The whole
copy,
other camp
if on my record I don't have the death date, death information, like where, I'll copy that and paste it in my information.
Okay.
There's not a good automatic transfer way. One of the things is when you want to make a change on it, you request a change, and you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a person assigned to be the manager.
Well, if you paste it in, isn't that affecting the copyright?
No. No. In that field, I don't know how to go back. Let's see if I can go back. Nope, I can't do that. Okay,
Yeah,
but anyway,
that's
it's
okay.
just take that information and copy and paste it into your whatever you got your tree in.
Yeah,
Do you have a tree on your own computer?
I don't.
Okay.
I started on Ancestry a few
Okay.
years ago, then I gave up because, I didn't want to pay anymore.
I
so-
gotcha. Well, use some of the
And
free
I
ones, like FamilySearch. I've got an Ancestry account. I've got a FamilySearch account. I've got a MyHeritage account and a Genealogy. And my biggest records are in FamilySearch because it's free.
Yeah.
And then the other ones, I have some so that I'll get hints from those pages as well. Okay,
And another question.
yes.
I'm kind of reluctant to sign in or add my name on there, get an account on these things because I get so many emails.
Okay.
That's my only
I've been a
hesitation.
member of Find a Grave for 10 years. I've not gotten a single email.
Okay, that's
So
good.
that doesn't happen.
FamilySearch does.
The only thing happens is, when I log in, since if I've said that I will be responsible for certain memorials, which I did, some of my relatives, if somebody put in a request to change something on one of my relatives, when I log in to find a grave, it'll have a little place there where I can click on it and I can see the suggestions that they made. And I can say yes or no. But as
Okay.
far as email, no, never an email.
Okay.
Okay, so newspapers. We talked a little bit earlier about newspapers. See if I can make this work now. Come on. Oh, you bugger. That tech wanted to watch this close presentation, didn't they? Let's see. Okay, let's see, newspapers. Come down here to newspaper. Why isn't it working? Come on. Did that do anything?
No.
No.
The arrow, did you hit the arrow?
That's what I'm doing. Do you have a phone number for her, that tech?
She left it.
Well, what I'm going to show you is one of them that's on that list. It's called Chronicling America.
Oh, that's the one.
It's by the Library of Congress. And what they did is they transcribed the newspapers from about 1640 to 1963. Now, was it perfect? Did they get every one of them? Maybe not. But it's a great free thing that your taxes paid for. And so you can go into that, you pick a state, you pick a time range, a year, 1 year to the next, and you put in who you're looking for, and you hit enter, and you find them. And I found them very successful. Yes?
So, how do I say this? I know my hometown did not archive any of their records. They said the library got some, but didn't they have to submit them to be included in this?
I don't think it worked that way. I think that they went out and reached out to the communities and got newspapers from like libraries and other things in order to build it. You can read all about it on their page, but they have a large collection. Now, there is no single one page on the internet that has all newspapers everywhere. You will always find, no matter what it is, there's some holes. Because, what? Yeah.
I hate holes.
Oh, yes, I do too. You know, but keep in mind that some of those collections were collected by county or country or state or countrywide or townwide or part of a state, and then, you know, other places collected them, so that there's a lot of different newspaper places out on the internet, and a lot of free ones too.
Pardon me, would you by any chance know if Western Reserve Historical Society had their ethnic Polish newspapers on Chronicling America?
I don't know that. I haven't had a chance to do a lot of Polish research. Actually, last Saturday, there was a Polish panel on genealogy up in Kirtland, where people who would have known the answer to that, but I was busy doing something else at the time.
Okay.
But could be. Now, you know, newspapers in the United States weren't all in English, by the way, right? You know,
Right.
I have some family that they were in this German-speaking. Help! You here to help?
Yeah, what's going on?
I can't get this to go to the next page.
Oh, okay.
It's on that page,
Okay.
and I was just hitting the arrow and making it go.
Yeah, that's usually what will happen here, so.
But anyway, what was I saying?
The newspapers for all
German.
Oh, yeah. I found these German, in the German newspaper, and then somebody found,
Should be, okay.
let's see.
You press that, it won't show it.
Ah, there we go.
Should show.
Okay,
Oh,
Chronicling America, this is it. See, here's where you pick the
have a
state.
seat.
Here's where you pick the state. Wait, we need you.
Wait a minute, he said.
Okay, so here,
It was worked for about 5 different slides.
in this example, I did District of Columbia,
Okay.
and I
yeah,
did
I'll be upstairs.
2-year time range.
Okay.
There's a beginning date and an ending date, and then I put in Robert E.L. Mitchie, and I did an enter. and it found 19 pages that had his name on there, Robert E. L. Mitchell. Now, it's big time, you know.
Wow.
This one had pictures, so that, I don't know about you, I like pictures.
Yes.
When I was a kid, nobody had any family pictures. I didn't figure there was no one, you know, all the way back to Noah, you know, that didn't have any photographs. But anyway, when you get on him, see, there's a nice picture of him, and then down here it says he died in France. So that's very helpful. Also, by the way, one of the other, I didn't get all 19 on here, but another one of those things shows that he had a daughter, and her name was Margaret. And she went and married David Torrey Wells, and I missed the rest of it. They got married in Connecticut and went to go live in New York. So now you've got a daughter, a son-in-law, you know where they moved to, you know where they got married, just from that little bit of searching.
I'm gonna go home and I better find a lot.
You better, yes. Okay, but there's also the National Archives, separate from the Library of Congress. The National Archives has a lot. They got census, migration, military, citizenship, land, and much more. By the way, and not just for US people. There's a whole bunch on Japan people and on people in other countries as well. I don't know all the reasons for all that, but they do. So for instance, you can come to one of this page, you've got genealogists, places that might favor us, like starting your research, resources, charts and forms, if you're into paper, and a lot of different things here. Let's see if I can show you some examples. This is an example. This is a registration affidavit of an alien female. They actually used to track who came into the country. And this is her name, Anna Hoffman, and she also went by Sister Mary Victoria, and the convent that she was associated with, and her birth information. The next page goes on and talks about her family, and let's see what else in here. A bunch of information about her, and then a picture of her. There's more. And on the next page, you've got her fingerprints. So here,
She looked shifty. Yes, she did look shifty.
yeah. She was coming to work in the orchards, right? Anyway, just be aware
Oh my God.
that this is on your handout, and it's a good place to go search for things. Related to the National Archives is the AAD, which is a bunch of databases that particularly interested genealogists. And you can go in and you can go into different things right away if you want. Casualties, civilians, military personnel, immigrants, prisoners of war, businesses, foundations, and so on. Or you can just do a plain search. Now, if you've got a really unique name, maybe a plain search. I have 2 lines that got unique names, Dilbeck and Savant Levette. So in this case, I'm gonna just do the regular search. And I put in James Savant. I've got 2 James Savants in my family tree. And I click and enter. Is there enter there some search? Yeah. And then it gives me all of those. Well, one of those looks like mine. And so I click on him, click on this little button right here to the left, and it opens up and it's got his social security number, his name, last name, birth date, gender, race. His mother's Mary. She had a middle initial. Her last name was Savant at the time of his birth. And going on down, we've got his dad's name, Nicholas, and his last name Savant, and he was born in Italy. So here in that one thing, I've got the parents, I've got where they were born, I got his birth and information. And by the way, this whole bunk about social security numbers, when someone's dead, someone can have that social security number, ain't gonna do them any good. Because they put that into the system and someone's getting, that's dead. You know, you're cheating, and they'll arrest them. So don't worry about people getting social security numbers of the deceased. Okay, let me go on. Libraries. You've heard of libraries. Remember the old card catalogs? We'd get our fingernails stuck in those little 3x5 cards that were too tight. Oh, I remember that. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. Has anybody heard of WorldCat? Okay, it's one of the several places that will help you. And it tries to get every library in the world. It's still working on it, but it's massive. So what you want to do is you want to put in here, either a book, DVD, or whatever, and you're going to put in a name, a place, a title, or a keyword. I heard from somebody in New York who somehow was related to me, but I never quite understood, that there was a book about our family called New Salem as I Knew It, my Bale family, who lived in Illinois. So I put that in and I did a search, and it says, which books are these? It's this one. So I click on that and it gives me, now when I first did this, I was in California, and the closest library was in Florida. So I got the information, I went to my California library and I said, this is in the Florida library, how do I get it? The interlibrary loan, they shipped it to California, and I got to check it out. I was ecstatic. Now, it turns out there's a whole lot of more places that have that book. But there's something better. Going down through this list, one of them says Hathi Trust. I think it's in your handout. Hathi Trust is another type of library effort. They're scanning, digitizing all books and putting them online for free. So I knew that, so I'm going to go to Hathi Trust. And there's the book, New Salem as I Knew It. The whole book was written by Bale family, about the Bale family in New Salem, New Jersey, Illinois, excuse me. And that was the mill that the Bale brothers built on the river. And the last house in that town was Abram Bale's house when everybody had evacuated and left, and his was the last house to be taken down. Now they've rebuilt the little town as a monument, so it's a historical attraction. By the way, you talk about fame. I don't have any famous ancestors I know of. But sometimes your ancestors bump into somebody famous. Remember the guy who built the mill, the grist mill? Well, he had somebody in town who didn't like him. And they didn't like each other. They had a lot of squabbles over prices and rates and what services they were doing. And so the other guy wanted to buy him out at a cheap price. And he didn't want to give up his mill, it was his life. Well, he went to the local attorney and got this attorney to send him a threatening letter. And the letter's published in a book, which I've got a copy of. And that attorney was Abraham Lincoln.
Wow.
So after that, he finally decided to sell him the mill, packed up his things, and he moved out of town that night. Early the next morning, the mill caught on fire and burned to the ground. There's no evidence, but I think he was, if I can't have my mill, you can't have my mill. I'm just imagining.
Alan,
Yes,
want to go back to Hathi Trust?
yes.
Again, that's listing all books and they're now
It
digitized?
may not be all books,
Okay.
but little by little, they're digitizing all books that don't have copyrights in place. So
Okay,
anything over, 50, 60 years ago. And they're making them available online.
okay. Was that a link? Did you? give
Yeah,
us-
on WorldCat, it gave me a link to Hathi Trust.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
also show you, I think I got, here's
Yeah.
Hathi Trust. If you just go directly to Hathi Trust,
Oh, it's on the bottom?
and you come in here and do a search, and here I search for Dilbeck and Hathi Trust.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's my other unique family name. It should be in that handout.
It is.
I got it.
At the bottom.
Okay, so here with Hathi Trust, I do Dilbeck, and there's a number of things, and I click on the one. Now, I can read this book if I wanted to, but I'm lazy. Over here to the right, I put in Dilbeck and click search, and it gives me the pages that have his name on it, and it highlights his name. So I got right here, the paragraphs, talks about Isaac Dilbeck, and so on. So I can actually click on these and jump right to that page. And here it talks about Isaac, who came to this country, and his family, and what they did, and so forth, who he came with. So Hathi Trust gave me this wonderful record. So a lot of free things out there, guys. Facebook. How many avoid Facebook? All right, let me tell you. I know why. The rumors, the stories, joining groups with nasty people, and accepting people as friends and they screw you up somehow. I've had that done to me. I would recommend you start using Facebook again. But as far as friends, the only friends I allow are blood relatives who I've seen in person. And then I only really use it for genealogy. So you use it for genealogy. And how do you use it for genealogy? Well, there are thousands of genealogy Facebook groups. Right here where this F and that magnifying glass is, you can put in anything and look for a group. For instance, you could put in a place, a person, a religion, an ethnic group, a hobby, an occupation, anything you want. Civil War, World War II, World War I, whatever you want. In this case, I'm going to put in Indiana genealogy. I wanted to do some research there. So then you click on it, and then you've got, these are the groups that are Indiana genealogy. These are free groups to join. Everybody on there is doing it free, and they're helping one another. Now, here's something. This one only has a little over 1,000 people. This one only has a little over 700, 500. That one has almost 5,000. Guess which group I'm going to join? The one with the most people. So I joined that group, and then you've got 5,000 people that can help you. How do they help you? I'll show you in a minute. First of all, free obituary lookups is another group that you can click on and you can join. And you've got to scroll down to the state that you want. So you scroll down like Arkansas. And here, Teresa said she was looking for David Thomas Hudson, died in 1979, and immediately got a response. Immediately got another response, and then even later got a bigger, better article. So this group actually has like 150,000 people in it. So you've got 150,000 people worldwide who are willing to do this for you for free. You couldn't hire those people. You know, so joining this particular one about obituaries, it's a great, useful thing. Totally free. There's no sign up. You're not giving them any private information. So I don't miss out on this because of those bad things that happen on Facebook. What else? Random Acts of Genealogical Kindness is one of the groups on Facebook. Okay? And here's an example. This Joy, she had a picture of her grandfather from World War I. And on the back, it had this date, and then it had that funny word, S-I-H-L-E-L-E. She didn't know what that was. It wasn't in a dictionary. It wasn't in a map list. She couldn't find it, so she put it here, asking for help. It didn't take long before this Shari person said, oh, it's now spelled S-I-H-L-E-A. It used to be the way it's written on that card. And she gave a web page proving that that was the case. So now she knew exactly what the town was and where it was, and again, this was absolutely free. So well worthwhile. Facebook groups. It's not just the United States. For any of you who've worked out beyond the United States, how about Lebanon, the country of Lebanon, which is a war-torn area where Israel just bombed part of it, and it broke off from Syria at one point, 1940. So if you were to do that and join that group, I don't know, I didn't get the group shown. I don't want to go back because I don't mess this up.
That's right.
Okay, but anyway, there's a Lebanon genealogy group that you can join. I found out there were some cemeteries there that are indexed, and we were able to look up some things in the index. Okay, let's go back to the United States. usgenweb.org. This has been around a long time. It's run by volunteers. There's every state in the union and every county in every state. Now, might there be a county or two where somebody's lackadaisical? Maybe. But we're going to show you some good examples. So you go to that page, and you're going to pick a state. And I think I picked Iowa. And this is the Iowa page. Lots of different links on it. But you know, when I'm researching a little while ago, I really like to go down to the county level. So I usually go to the county, and I'm going to pick O'Brien County in this case. And you go down to O'Brien County, and we've got biographies, churches, histories, maps, obituaries, vital records, schools, organizations, military, immigration, directories, cemeteries, census, and so on. A lot of different categories with data. So look, I clicked on biographies, and the one I wanted was this Fred Fidelk. I'm a Jones, I really don't know how to pronounce his name. But anyway, there's a whole write-up on him and his life. You know, what work he did, who he worked for, what he was successful at, and so on. And then down here at the bottom, Fred passed away in 1961, click on that to get his obituary. His wife, Sophia, she died in 72, click on that to get her obituary. So now you've got a life story and obituaries on 2 people by looking up one man using US Gen Web.
What was it, US Gen?
USGenWeb.com.
It's on the back of this.
Yeah, it's everything's on the hands out.
World Gen Web.
Okay. Now there's another one called World Gen Web. What if you're outside of the country again? We're not in the United States anymore. Well, we could include the United States. It gives you every country, territory, region, and so on. Here, and you've got to go through and pick what you want. Some of these I never heard of. East Timor, some of the Brunei, I don't know some of these, Lesotho, I don't know what those mean. But anyway, I'm going to show you Denmark. So I always go to the Denmark page. It gives you a little peripheral stuff and a map. You scroll down and you get links for doing research in Denmark. So now, you wanted to find something, well, you can join, everybody heard of Cindy's List?
Yeah.
I think she's on there. You take you for Denmark at Cindy's List. Mailing lists, what FamilySearch has, what Ancestry has, the Jewish genealogy in Scandinavia. I forgot what the that is. Anyway, a bunch of different resources for researching in Denmark. So, use World Gen Web when you're out of the country. Google search. I want to talk about Google searching. There's actually a whole bunch of little helps. What I hate to see is somebody online saying, I want to find, I don't know, Social Security records on Ancestry or FamilySearch, but I get confused with all the down to the tables and so on. You don't have to do that. If you go to Google search and you put in Social Security, and then over here you put what website you look on, FamilySearch.org. And then in between these two, you're going to put site colon. This you could write down, because this is, I didn't get the handout. I printed the handout before I added this. Site colon is a keyword telling Google that you want to look for this only on that website. Now, that doesn't mean it'll go down to the name, can't do with John Brown. It's not going that, but the category, there's a web page on there for families from Social Security. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we do that, we'll go down and we put in Clyde Jones, Texas, California, and we do a search, and lo and behold, here's some Social Security information. There's not a lot of detail, but the advantage of this is that this is connected part of FamilySearch. It will lead you off to other links about him. So you know that Social Security had his birth and death dates and where he died and so forth. That was my grandfather. Photos. Anybody have any photos that you don't have a name written on them? And you don't know where your parents got that from? Frustrating, isn't it?
Yes.
Or how about some folks that you do know about and you can't find a picture? Well, there's a lot of different places on the internet to do this. I want to tell you about one of my little favorites. Dead Fred. Dead Fred. I like Dead Fred. If you've got some old pictures you don't know, you can come here and you can post them. If you want to look for your people, for somebody, you can search them. I'm going to search here. I'm going to search for the Wild last name. Okay? I could go down through the search, but I'm not going to do that. And it turns out there's 2 hits, pictures that they've got. They've got this one and this one. So let's go to the first one. So this is George Canning Wild. He lives in Richmond, Virginia, and between 1851 and 1900. And we've got a nice photograph of him to add to your family tree. Now what about the other one? The other one turns out it's a school thing with 4 women. And the one at the bottom is Mary Wild. We've got a picture now of her. This is where she was. And somebody wrote a little ditty about her. Mary is a tiny thing, just about 5 feet. But her temper isn't short. Instead, she's awful sweet. Wouldn't that be cute to add that about somebody in your tree? I think so. Not to mention you got a photograph. Okay, so let's talk about Google. If you want to look for an obituary, I see it all the time. Where do I find an obituary for Washington State? My uncle died a few years ago. Go to Google. Here we've got Elias Hackle, obituary, the year 2015 in Ohio. I know that much. So then I hit enter, and there's several hits, and I'll open up the first one, and there's his picture, and there's his little bio. So Google can find obituaries that aren't 100 years ago. So it's worth looking if you have a new obituary you're looking for. Okay, so then I want to talk about archive. This used to be called the Wayback Machine. It started out as a project of taking a snapshot of websites on the internet and storing them. So you could go back and you say, well, what did their company website look like in 1975 or 1995? You know, and so on. But it's gotten to be much more than that. So the way I use this is I will put in like Jefferson County, Ohio. Anybody have family in Jefferson County, Ohio? No? Okay. Well, let's pretend that you did. Or whatever, we put in the county name, whatever your family was. When I go there, these are the books about Jefferson County, Ohio. And let's just pick the first one for the heck of it, and it's Wills. Wills of Jefferson County, Ohio, 1836 to 1844. And if I click on it and open it up, it gives me a list of who's there and what page they're on. And if I go to the next page, it gives me John Simpson, I use Island Creek there, his wife Margaret, daughter Jane, son Samuel, children of daughter, and so on. And then it gives us where we can actually get the whole thing. Wouldn't that be helpful? And there were a lot of other books there too, weren't there? So you could do a heck of a lot of research there, just by doing this archive thing. And also, there's another little trick. If you highlight this part, I don't know about you, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. So I can get out the magnifying glass, or I can highlight this and click on this little headset right there. See the little ear headset? It'll read it to you out loud. So it will read what you highlighted out loud. So if you have any problem seeing it, let it talk. It's smart enough for that. So that was at the archive thing. FamilySearch is adding new features. And I'll show you one that they just sort of started on. It's called US Land Records, Probate Records, and Mexico Notary Records. They really got more than that in it. It's a AI total every word index thing. So you clicked on that /lab, and then there is a, I hit the wrong key, this thing here in the middle. And then you put in like Joseph Savant. I knew he was in Grundy County between 1890 and 1914. And bingo, there I hit him. And it turns out this is the birth of his son Anton. So this was my great-grandfather, Joseph Savant, and his wife Maria. And this was the brother of my grandfather, Anton. So birth registries were also in there, which is more than what they claimed. Unfortunately, this poor guy, as a teenager, who died in a coal mine accident. But that's a family story. Anyway, and the text of where all of us over here, if you wanted to read text instead of handwriting. So there are these little things there in that lab that can be useful. Of course, we talked about family search centers. Do you have a family search center here in Hudson?
There's one in
Talmadge, okay. That's not too far. Okay, well, in case those of you don't know, there's a lot of free stuff there. And there's usually staff. They may be LDS members or not. But you have computer access to all of the paid websites too. And some of them have books. Does this one have books, microfilm?
We have microfilm.
Okay, the one in Kirtland refused to give up its books and microfilm and microfiche. It still has it all. But it has a lot of nice computers too, and scanners. Anyway, and typically they're often attached to a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But so free access to web pages, often one-on-one help. That includes the 19th century British library newspapers. The Alexander Street Press is the Civil War era. Pictures and newspapers and stuff. American Ancestors, that started out as a New England thing, but they've spread more around the country. Ancestry, the institutional version. Now, using one like that, you can't really create a tree on it, but you can use all the research there. For those of you who have Scandinavian people, Swedish people, Archive Digital, that's not, Swedish people not even in Sweden, in other countries, and even in the United States. Actually, when that group came to the United States and created a church, they had all those church records of the Scandinavian churches in the United States. British newspaper archives. Famnet is people who family came from New Zealand. They weren't necessarily in New Zealand. I was looking for somebody in New Zealand. Turned out they were in Connecticut, but their parents came from New Zealand. Find My Past. It's mostly run by the UK, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. Fold 3 used to be called Footnote. It's mostly military. But all these sites, they tend to get beyond their original charter. Genealogy, mostly English records. I've got a tree in there to get a hint once in a while. Goldie May is a new one. And this, once you play with it in a family history center, you can do this at home, because it's really free on a free website. And you can download, it's not data, it is tools. Like, you ever talk about a research log? Did you really want to know where you've looked and where you haven't looked? It can help you to automatically make a research log. Or it can help make you a chart of where your people lived in what decades, so you know where to look. MyHeritage, again, is a big one, sort of like Ancestry. Newspapers.com used to be there, but Ancestry bought them, so they're a part of the Ancestry website now. I happen to love the old newspaper format, but anyway. Paper Trail, the Western movement across America. Well, no matter what your group was, they came on a wagon train across the country, they're going to be in this group. And it's transcribed records where they stopped along the way and who was in which wagon train and so forth. Puzilla is a tool. If you've got some of your tree in FamilySearch, it will pull it up and it will evaluate it and tell you, you've got no sources on these people. Oh, this person died before they were 16, but they've got 4 children. There's something wrong there. And it'll tell you where to go look and what to work on. So, as I said, family search centers are often attached to a church. I want to show you something else.
Yeah, can I ask the group, where's the Family Search Center in Talmadge?
On Howe Road,
Oh,
down 91, make a left onto Howe. It's on the right-hand side, just across from the old Weaver School.
I know where that's at, okay.
Gotcha.
Great.
Park in the back.
Thank you.
No problem.
How much time do
They're
we
only
have?
open certain days.
The library open today.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I wanted to talk about something else. MyHeritage. It's another one of the paid websites, but you can use it for free at FamilySearch Center. Sometimes libraries have these things too. Sometimes libraries have Ancestry and FamilySearch and MyHeritage. I just want to show you something. Here, they got something about photos. What's about photos? You want to enhance a photo, okay. You come here and it says upload a photo. So you upload a picture. This is the picture I'm uploading. And there it is, it's working on it. And then it fixed it somewhat. And then it says I can colorize it. And I click on colorize and it's thinking. And it finally colorized it. And then there's the picture that I came out. Isn't that a lot nicer?
That's neat.
Now it's also got more than that. You can take a face picture and animate it. Someone long dead, they can wink at you and smile and turn their head. And they got one better called Deep Story. I did this with my grandfather. So I'm having a computer problem, I hate to try to bring it up. But I've got my grandfather who died in 76, and I've got him telling his story. I want to tell you a little bit about me. I was born in, Dalzell, Illinois. My parents came from Italy, and my father died fairly young. And I joined a choir group in his church, and they went around singing at different churches. And he met Grandma, and she was the love of his life. He goes on and tells his whole story. And I got this animated video of him running like that. And so I do that with my mom too. And it's just so fun to see them actually telling their own story. Now, and there are like a bunch of voices. You can pick a voice that's closest to what they are. They even have kid voices, if you've got a child, that's in this case. So, pictures on MyHeritage, I love that part. I go there often. Sometimes in some of the Facebook groups where somebody says, oh look, I found this picture, it's very hard to read. I'll take it and I'll clean it up and colorize it and post it back. And they're happy. So there's a lot of different free things out there. So the one thing that's not in there was about the site colon, that you can do a search on for Ancestry, MyHeritage, FamilySearch, Genealogy, any other page of genealogy, you can do a search. And you know what I mean by, it's not a person you're searching for. You're searching for a page which will search a particular database.
Yeah.
So, World War I veteran, see if there's a search for that. Or World War II victim who died in World War II. And so you find those pages, it'll take you right down to it, instead of clicking on B, go down to C, go over here to F, down to G. I don't like all that.
That was what website?
The key word is there is SITE colon. You put what you want looking for, like Social Security, site colon, put Ancestry.com or FamilySearch.org or MyHeritage.com, and it will find the page for you. Now, having said all of this, there's more on that page than what I had a chance to talk about. Let's see. Yeah, there's more graves on here, more cemetery places. There is, if you're looking for newspapers around New York, Fulton History has newspapers. The Obituary Daily has newspapers. You know what I didn't put on here? I guess because I sort of learned about it new, is there's a new thing out. I think this will behave for me. I'm not sure. Let me try. Come on. Come on, where are you? You're not working.
We can see your.
I want to show you something. Okay, good.
It's the.
It's not going to show it to me. Come on. Oh, heck. Let's come on up. You're not showing it to me. No, it's not what I want. It's not what I want. Why can't I go to here? Okay, here. Now, let's see. What did I understand I was going to do? Let's see, program. Let's see if I can find this. There is a thing at libraries. Not all libraries have it, but some of them do. Cuyahoga County Library has it. Come on. Oh, come on, Ellen. That's not it. Just give me another second or two. FamilySearch. Okay. Anything else? Not anything. Okay. That's all right. I can tell you when I find it.
I'd like to make a statement to the lady in the green jacket.
Oh, to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll do it. Yeah.
Google Family Search Center Talmadge to check on the days and the hours.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thanks, Alan.
The Cuyahoga libraries, Cuyahoga County libraries, if you get a library card, is this Cuyahoga County still?
No.
Okay,
No.
your county, ask your county if they've got it. There's something called Heritage Hub. Heritage Hub. And if you get the library card, go down, get your library card, and ask them if they've got Heritage Hub. They'll probably have to ask somebody else. But what I'm able to do now with your library card, and mine came with a pin, is I'm able to go to the county library website and click on research. And all the research is a thing called Heritage Hub. And I click on it and it says, what's your library card and your pin? And I put it in, and it's a transcription of all obituaries and death notices for a long time. Let's see if I can find out how long. I don't see the ages. Anyway, so it's available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You're up at 2 in the morning, you got nothing better to do. You could get online and you could look things up on Heritage Hub. So you might want to ask your county, probably not your cities. I doubt they're going to go up for that expense. I guess there's expense. But ask the county libraries. I don't, it's confusing for me. Because where I live, I've got a Cleveland City Library, I've got a Cuyahoga County Library, and I've got a Cleveland Heights Library. And I thought they were all one, and I've learned they don't speak to each other for the most part. So Heritage Hub is another thing that I just recently learned about when you're looking for death notices or obituaries. They're all transcribed, nothing original, but it will help you to find when and where and what it says. And if you think there might be something that got transcribed wrong, then you can go to the other websites and find a clear picture of it.
And is it all United States?
Probably it's mostly the United States. I don't really know. I haven't tried it outside the United
But
States.
Ohio?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Mhm.
What
Definitely.
about Freeman?
Huh?
The Freeman Bank, what about that?
That's a totally different thing.
Okay.
At the end of the Civil War, freed slaves couldn't really get loans or bank account, didn't have ID, no driver's license. And so the government created a Freeman Bank that they could come in and create an account. To get an account, they had to say, okay, who's your mother, and when was she born, and who's your father, where were they born, and who are your siblings, and who are your grandparents. And so they gave a genealogy to identify themselves and create a bank account. And those records are available online. So anybody who might be related to someone who was a slave at one point, which actually, if you go back far enough, we all were slaves at some time or other. For those freed from the Civil War.
That's on Ancestry.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Thank you.
any last questions? Yes.
What's the status of the Cleveland Press being digitalized? There's some place was working on that.
Let's say it again.
The Cleveland Press being digitalized. I heard there was some place, I read up somewhere that someone's working on that,
I don't know. I don't really know.
because I know you really can't find it.
It's, last I knew it was still in process. Cleveland
Okay.
State is doing it.
Cleveland State.
It'll,
By the way,
I think Cleveland State, Bill Barrow is deeply involved in that, and I follow him on a blog. But pay attention to Cleveland State, I mean, they'll put it up. I'm sure Cuyahoga County will holler when it gets done.
by the way, if you go into Ancestry or FamilySearch or even MyHeritage, and you do a search for a person's name, they're looking in their index. Not every record they have has been indexed yet. There's indexing that's still going on for all those sites. So sometimes you have to go to like card catalog or whatever they might call it, and then you can look up, okay, for this state, for this county, for this city, is George there, and find them. So just keep in mind, don't get frustrated if you don't find something right away. I do indexing. I mostly do reviewing of indexing, and then after my review, then they get posted. So I know every day, hundreds, if not tens of thousands of records get added to FamilySearch and Ancestry. Yes.
I wanted to let her know, she was saying, the lady that said she was uncomfortable on Ancestry, that if she has her data, there are websites that will allow you to download a free program for entering your data on your own computer. Roots Magic has a free form,
Yes.
and you can enter all your data. Legacy Family Tree has a free form,
Right.
and there are a couple others, but you can then
Now,
put that form on your computer,
That's
enter
right.
your data, and you don't have to.
I bought the premium Roots Magic,
So did I.
$35
Yeah.
for life.
I have it too.
Yeah. Now what that means is, I've got my genealogy on my computer. I can make changes and upload it to Ancestry. I can change it, I can upload it to FamilySearch, or have it do it for me. So I can keep all three of those things coordinated.
Well, Roots Magic has a free one.
They do.
You just go onto their website, download it onto your computer. It'll allow you to enter all the names, all the data, all the sources, everything. They don't have all the bells and whistles, like changing the color of your text, and changing
Hey,
girls'
at $35, I'm willing to give up those extravagances.
Well, I'm a fan of the four-letter word.
Yeah, thank you.
Amen.
Right.
I
It's
need to get
interesting,
you out,
amen,
but
is
we're
letters
gonna
too.
close in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Anyway, thank you. I hope this will help. My email's on there. If you have any questions. Also, by the way, if you set this down and you come back 9 months from now and you look it up and say, that doesn't work like you said. They change all the bloody time. They change where they are, what they do, and so on. So the world changes. Keep that in mind.